Skye Squad? We back in the building. Listen, we were trying to do a live earlier. That thing didn't go right. That's what you get for trying to do a live in a hotel room. You just never know what the internet gonna give. So my apologies for that if you were tuned into the live and we was about to get into the thing. But just to recap for you guys, we have some news for you. We're talking about, Potomac. We had a major scare coming out of Potomac last night. We got some information on Tami Roman reacting to Basketball Wives reports that Shaunie O'Neal will be back in a diminished capacity. And then we got Brielle Biermann, Kim Zolciak's daughter, commenting about Real Housewives of Atlanta, and it's got the people in an uproar. So first things first, we're going to cover the Potomac scare. Now, you guys may recall Katie Rost from season 1 of Potomac. She was the ball and gala girl. She was Russell Simmons' ex, and she had the ability to get Giselle and Robin all the way together. Now, let me pull up a photo of Katie right here. Now, you guys can see her. If you remember her, I actually interviewed her when I was on a news show down in Florida. Then I also had the opportunity to interview her when she was back on Real Housewives of Potomac for season 4. Now, here's what she posted last night, and it has a lot of people concerned and worried about her well-being. She posted this. She says, and it's in a text message group with 6 other people, which is interesting. She says, "My name is Katie Rost. I was just driven out to Purcellville, Virginia, and let in the woods with no shoes. No key to my home, and my mother says she is calling the police on me. I need help. She drove me from New York to Potomac, Maryland to here. I am outside and I have no shoes on. She is a liar. I didn't drive myself out here. I need someone to come get me before the police arrive to say I am trespassing. She just left the property and my phone is about to die. I am at," and I blocked out the address because I just didn't want to post that. She says she took my wallet. She has all of my identification and I have no extensions in. I have short braids. Now, she had posted this on her Instagram in an actual post, and then she subsequently deleted the post. So I'm not necessarily sure if she's actually okay right now, but it does have a lot of fans, really scared and concerned for her whereabouts. So I wasn't going to talk about this, but when I look back again today, the post is still in her IG stories. So I'm just going to say that I'm hopeful that Katie is okay. From the sounds of this text message, the situation sounds kind of dire. I'm not sure what's going on with her and her mom. I think I've had maybe not DM conversations, but back and forth commenting conversations with her mom, around the time that we did the interview with her, and they seem to be pretty close. So this is kind of shocking to me. What I will say though is, while I know a lot of people have been, had been posting and commenting just to check to see if she was okay, we'll just say that we're going to send out some prayers to Katie and her family and hope that she's all right. You know that in the past, she has been very vocal about the issues that she has faced with her kid's father, and then also the whole custody situation between the two of them. And so I feel like she's just had a hard go at it ever since that period of time. And so we just want to send out some thoughts and prayers to Katie right now. I'm not sure what the situation is now, but I hope that she's okay. And I hope that maybe some of her Potomac castmates who have worked with her in the past have been able to check on her to, just to kind of make sure she's all right. I didn't feel comfortable reaching out behind the scenes because I just felt like she's obviously going through a lot right now. And I also wanted to address this here because I kept getting tagged on it on Instagram and people kept DMing me about it. So I figured I would address it here and then let you guys know I haven't heard anything. I haven't seen anything. She did put another post up, but this still remains in her IG story. So I'm hopeful that everything is okay, but we'll just have to kind of wait and see how things play out. Okay. So we're going to move on to our next story, and we're going to be talking about this. Okay. Now, this is a post from Brielle Biermann, and shout out to our friends over at the reality TV source who happened to pick this up. Now, this was shortly after Portia had announced her exit from the Real Housewives of Atlanta. And as you guys know, we are down, Portia and Cynthia for this season. But Brielle had some thoughts on the matter, especially since her mom used to be part of the cast. And it's interesting to me that she decided to post this because she says this: no Nene, no Kim, no Portia, no Phaedra. What's the point I'm assuming she meant of RHOA at this point. Now, what I will say is this post had fans in an uproar because a lot of people did not appreciate the way Kim kind of came back the last season that she was on the show. So people feel like, I don't really know, why Brielle is commenting, because when she was on the show, her mom seemed a bit problematic at the time, and they really gave it to her at that reunion. Now, given that Brielle is I would say she's a public figure because she's on a television show. She had to have known that this was going to cause a little bit of an uproar. And listen, I have no problem with her speaking her mind, because if that's how she feels, that's how she feels. But fans, again, were in an uproar. But then some fans also have been siding with Brielle because they're like, listen, those Nene and Kim altercations were epic, and they still are to this day. To be quite honest with you, I have to agree. Nene and Kim are literally, they are the archetype for, two outspoken housewives who are frenemies, friends one minute, enemies the next minute, fighting and making up and fighting and having those fights be really, really epic. So I understand in that perspective, what she's talking about. And to be real, okay, if you don't have Nene, if you don't have Portia, you don't have Phaedra, because a lot of people want Phaedra back on the show as well. All four of these women, regardless of whether or not you like any of them, have made a really big impact on Real Housewives of Atlanta, and they have really big personalities. So some people feel like there's some justification for what she had to say, but some people feel like, listen, there's still a cast there. It's an ensemble, so we'll have to wait and see what works. Regardless, the people had then got at Brielle, and I think sometimes too, people just don't like the messenger, right? This could be a situation where people just don't really like Brielle, and I think that could be it. And I think maybe they don't like her because they don't really like her mom. But anyway, she says, everybody's so hot and bothered about me adding Kim as if she wasn't giving you drama, extraness, trashy, classy, funny one-liners for years. Please give credit where credit's due. Everyone knows Kim and loved her at one point, even if you don't now. Sour apple, bitter bees. Now, I will say this. She is correct to a certain degree. She is correct that Kim did give drama. She gave extraness, trashy, classy. She had some funny one-liners. I will have to say that. So she is not lying when she is saying that. So I'm going to also give her credit as well. Now, I'm not necessarily here for don't be tardy. But Kim, in a Real Housewives of Atlanta capacity, people are still using Kim Zolciak memes to this day. That face that she was making at when she was fighting with Kenya, those faces are epic. Now, granted, I don't know if that's something you want to be remembered for, but at the end of the day, we still remember Kim Zolciak talking about Big Papa drinking wine and out them plastic cups and holding on to them cigs like the way she was at the time. So. Or Kim trying to be a country star, and then trying to go from being a country star to a pop star. We all remember that. And we still know don't be tardy for the party. So, you got to give her some credit. But anyway, Brielle went on to say, hey, I hate her too. Met her man and had a good one at that. Glowed up, had hella babies, lives in a beautiful home, is successful, etc., etc. Yeah, I smell the jealousy. Now, I will say, the half of this is true. Kim did, meet her man. She grew up. She got her own show. Now she ain't got the show no more, but she had it for a good run. She did have a whole lot of babies, and I'm sure her home is beautiful. And I'm sure she is successful in her own right. But I don't think nobody is jealous of her. I think that people just don't really like her. And I think that's really the issue here. And two things can be true. We can acknowledge what she gave to the franchise, but we can also acknowledge that most people just don't F with her like that. Bottom line. Moving right on along. So I want to talk about Basketball Wives right now. And this is interesting because, as you guys know, Basketball Wives will be back for the new season. And we're going to be having Duffy on there. We're going to be having Angel Brinks. We will have Brandy, who used to be best friends with Malaysia. And they're not cool like that anymore. So we're going to definitely see the demise of that friendship. We're also going to have Brooke Bailey back on there. And we're going to have British Williams back on there. I wonder why they didn't ask Sunday. Anyway, so we got all these familiar faces coming back and returning with Malaysia, with Jennifer, with Jackie. And so, you know, during an interview with Gary with the T, you know, Tami was giving her thoughts on where Basketball Wives was going to go, given the reports that we all had heard that Shaunie would be back, but in a diminished capacity. Now, I gotta say this first of all. Well, let me tell you what she said, and then we'll talk about, you know, my thoughts on how this whole thing is gonna work, okay? Tami says this: in any type of business structure, it's like you can't go to your job, Gary, and curse out the doggone supervisor. I changed the word to doggone. She says you can't do that. And because she opted to be a cast member on the show, that's where the confusion came in, where people felt like maybe, well, I can't say what I want to say because she's a cast member and she's one of the EPs. So that's where it got a little convoluted. She says, for me, I was just like, well, this is what I want to say, and I'm going to say it, and we'll deal with whatever the repercussions are after that. But I got to get this off my chest. I read articles and stories where the new season that's coming up that she's in a minimized capacity as a cast member. So that will allow the girls a lot of freedom to be able to interact amongst each other and really make the show good for the people who choose to watch it. Okay. Now, here's the thing. No lies were told, to be honest with you. But what's interesting to me is, and I don't think that and I think we already knew that they weren't, you know, in any way, shape or form friends anymore. But it was really apparent when she said, you know, that she had read articles and stories where the new season is coming up and she's in a minimized capacity as a cast member, meaning that she ain't talked to Shaunie. She had to read about it in the newspapers or whatever she read it in. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, I mean, I get it. You know, when Tami left, I felt like she felt like she was on an island by herself, or at least the only people that she had having her back was, you know, people like the OGs, people like Jackie and stuff like that. But in terms of her relationship with Shaunie, we kind of saw that go down the drain because she, I think, felt like, you know, Shaunie always had Evelyn's back and not hers. Pretty much. That's basically what it was. So now let's get to what she actually had to say about the show. Yeah, I mean, what she said is true. You know, it's got to be difficult to, you know, have to walk on eggshells around a person, even if you don't like their actions, you know, and you can't really address that person in such a way that is fair, because the way you might address another cast member is definitely not the way you would address your boss. You know what I mean? And we saw what happened when somebody did get out of pocket with Shaunie, and that was Brandy, and she was fired as a result. Now, from what I can see on social media, it looks like they back on good terms, but y'all know what I'm saying. At the end of the day, we saw what happened back in the day with Brandy, and she was, you know, given the get on and told, thank you for your services, okay? Now, I personally think that this is going to be great for the show to have Shaunie in a diminished capacity, because again, I agree with Tami. It would allow everybody to be able to be, hopefully, their authentic selves and really handle conflict in a way that they would always handle it. You know what I'm saying? Without having to sugarcoat or walk around or tiptoe or anything like that for fear of losing their jobs. You know, if she can kind of, you know, I don't even think she needs to be there anyway at this point, because I feel like she should just be, you know, EP of the show. Like, let these other girls do this and all that kind of stuff like that. You just collect the check and hire and fire and whatever like that. But, you know, I feel like Shaunie, you know, I don't even see that she needs to be a cast member on this show, because she don't really bring that much in terms of drama. You know what I mean? And while I enjoy the fact that she is successful and I support that, I just feel like in order for it to be a good show, you need to go ahead and sit down. That's what I feel like. So I agree with Tami. I think she's on the right path. And, you know, it's sad that we won't see Tami coming back this season as a result of seeing Shaunie go, because I think that would have been interesting to have Tami back with this group, because that would have been something. But anyway, that's the news that we got for y'all today. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell button. Sorry about the live from earlier today, but you never know what's going to happen when you go live, and that's something you just got to deal with sometimes. You got to roll with the punches and keep on going. With that being said, I will catch you in the next video.